Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. Fuck ice. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. Today we look at Skate Alley. This is one that's been on my pull list for a while. I do like skateboarding. I'm a bit old and I broke my arm a while ago, so I'm nowhere near as confident on a board as I used to be, but I still like the culture, I still like the community, and I'm more than happy to take a talk about this kind of thing. This comic book in particular, I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about skateboarding, and how authoritarianism kind of bats up against this kind of idea. But if you're only here because you want to know if it's a good comic book, I can get that done straight away, nice and easy. It looks amazing. It's kind of vaguely cartoony, almost Scott Pilgrim-esque kind of art style to it, but I really like that. It works quite nice for the story, which does play around a little bit with reality. There's almost some like magical girl stuff going on there, not too bad though. And I really like the colours. It kind of has an almost queer vibe to the way the palette plays out. That does also tie in a little bit to skateboarding. You queer a space by using it for skateboarding when it's not supposed to be used for skateboarding. And I'm not really qualified to speak too much on this subject, being one of those cishet white guys, but there's certainly the chance that there's a rivals to lovers sapphic vibe going on, but it is just a vibe, and if I'm wrong on that one, I'll hold my head up high and just admit that that was a mistake. It's also really well written. Every character has a very cool, unique, distinct voice. The dialogue between them is fantastic. These text in boxes for internal narration, which adds quite a lot of world building as we're going along. Every character, like I say, is brilliant. We talk about how they are coping within the world, some better than others, and it all comes across really, really well. Very efficient, very, very good, fun comic book. If I'm going to give any criticism, it's only a minor one. There's one particular instance where there's an action sequence where they do a tried and tested comic book thing, where you get one page, one character stationary, and another one multiple times on the page. This kind of nice way to show them moving through space and time as the story unfolds. Really, really like it. Saw it done brilliantly in Absolute Catwoman not that long ago. This one, it's really nice, but the way they've placed some of the text, it kind of breaks the flow up a little bit. It doesn't stop it making sense. It's still perfectly readable and does work quite nicely, but I've seen it done better recently, so it kind of hit me like, oh, that could be better. But, comparing it to something else, not like the best way to review it, but it was in my head, so I thought it might be worth mentioning. Right, on to the main thing I want to talk about. I reviewed a comic book not that long ago, which was explicitly criticised for being very Route One, very direct, absolutely lacking in nuance and subtlety when it comes to authoritarianism and what it's like to live under an authoritarian police state. This one, it does something similar. It does it slightly more tighter focus, and it uses that tight focus to tell a story which is far more interesting to me. Not just because I'm into skateboarding, although I will say, again, very, very minor criticism. Maybe if you're not into skateboarding, you won't get on with it as much as I did, but I still think it's worth your time. If you're looking for something kind of punky, something which is about fighting back, something which is about community and coming together and dealing with issues like this. Now, the reason why I think skateboarding is a really, really good thing to use to look at, a good lens to look at this problem through, is that even in the real world right now, which, yes, don't get me wrong, we are seeing nascent fascism in the rearview mirror right now, but even before this, when everyone was a bit more happy, everyone was a bit more into the centralism of it all, skateboarding was still something which could be seen as something you could punish and make illegal. And when you want to talk about laws, you do have a certain set of laws in most countries where there just should be common sense. You don't kill people, you don't perform sexual assaults. There's a whole bunch of stuff you shouldn't do because that's just wrong to do. The vast majority of laws are protecting capital and private property. Most of the anti-skateboarding laws fall into that. Yes, you shouldn't go into crowded shopping malls and expect to just be able to go nice and easy. It's too crowded, somebody's going to get hurt. But there's a whole bunch of public spaces or private property even where skateboarding would be fantastic, it could be done there, but corporations protect an image, protect their things, so they make it illegal. This feeds into authoritarianism because it gives an excuse. Like, we've proven that if we make it illegal to skateboard somewhere and skateboarders turn up, then they are bad, then we are right to have made it legal to skateboard there. And it is a completely harmless activity, except to the people who engage in it and break bones. I broke my elbow. But if you can convince population that it's okay to make this completely harmless thing illegal, then how many other harmless things can you make illegal? Skateboarding itself exists in a very interesting place like that, because yes, you can go to actual skate parks where people have set them up so people can go, but it does feel a little bit like pushing a problem to one side. Part of the skateboarding hobby is to go and explore places. Not quite urbex, but certainly close to it. You're going to find a real nice 12 you want to go down, finding nice lines that weren't created for skateboarding, usually in public or occasionally private places, and authoritarianism will stamp down on that, and this comic book really leans into that quite effectively. Yes, this place engages punitive justice and carceral punishment for probably a whole bunch of things, but we're looking at it from one lens, and it does give a good idea of how this small thing, which most people won't even think of, can be criminalized and how dangerous it is to let that carry on. I don't particularly like the slippery slope argument. I think it's used incorrectly an awful lot, but in this particular case, it's more a moving up the ranks of what we can punish. And it is brilliantly done. Really, again, looks fantastic. Great writing, and I can't wait for the rest of it. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after yourself, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.